nothing left for me to hate, so I can lay me down, my brothers, on the ground. I bled today until Coyote comes to raise me up and carries me
Hello, and welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast in association with the Scottish Rugby Blog. I'm joined tonight by the Scrum Champion himself, Mr. Craig Manson. How are you doing this evening?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, thanks. Yeah, getting there, not bad at all.
Good, glad to have you here. And also by the person that nobody can hold a candle to, the wonderful Leslie Ravage. How are you doing, Leslie?
I'm very well, Mark. Thank you very much. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, living the dream every day, as they say. Okay, so welcome to. I've forgotten what I've done with the script, so I'm going to have to work from my memory. Welcome to the Scottish Rugby Podcast in association with the Sports Social Network. We are streaming across all your platforms. Please give us a review or a like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. And also if you're on Apple, the reviews really do help us. That's all I can remember off the top of my head. It's probably close enough. So we're going to start. We're going to have a little bit of news and a little bit of review of the weekend's games. And then we'll move over to our Patreons, where we will preview the two big games of the weekend. That's Glasgow and the Scottish Women's Six Nations opener against Wales in Cardiff. So, first of all, rugby news from Glasgow. Good news about George Horne. It seems he could actually be back this weekend to face Toulon after injuring his ankle in the act of giving a scoring pass for a try at the weekend. That's got to be good news, right, Leslie?
Yeah, absolutely. First choice scrum half back playing. Yeah, that would be a big win. I mean, to be fair to Glasgow, they did do it without George for most of the game last week, but yeah, he is the first choice, so yeah, definitely want him back.
Absolutely. And in moves news, Johnny Matthews, as we suspected, as the rumour was, that that Johnny Matthews is indeed going to Montauban in France. I don't think anybody has any issue with him getting his day in the sun. It's probably at the time of his career. Craig, his Scotland career didn't go past two or three caps he had in the end, I think.
Yeah, he's obviously he's older. He's at that point where he's. Funnily enough, we were just talking about Darcy before we came on, and Darcy Graham and Johnny Matthews is kind of in that same situation. He's got his last quarter of his career to go, and it's he's developed a great reputation at Glasgow that he's hopefully going to make a bit of money out and see out the rest of his career making some good money. Also, this is probably a Nusafora thing again as well, and I'm sure Franco's probably with it as well, putting the older guys out, letting them go and bringing the younger guys through. Johnny Matthews has been a phenomenal servant for Glasgow. He's been a phenomenal try scorer for Glasgow. He's worked incredibly well. The game plan has worked incredibly well for him too. But definitely, unfortunately, it never really worked for him in the Scotland camp. Whether he was either not rated by Gregor Townsend or he just wasn't Gregor Townsend's kind of hooker that didn't fit into the game plan. I don't know, but unfortunately, he didn't perform very well when it came to Scotland games. So, but yeah, good luck to him, and he has to. I have to say, like, congratulations on his career with Glasgow. Glasgow have really done very, very well out of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And in similar news about the Glasgow hooker setup, Seb Stephen has signed a pro deal with the Warriors. He's been second choice behind Gregor Hiddleston recently, and is turning out to be a phenomenal player. So, in the nicest sense, if we do have that strength and depth with youngsters, I get that letting the older guys walk away. Although the suggestion from Alan Mack on the chat is that David Nusafora is remaking Logan's Run at Glasgow. Another one for the kids. But yeah, I think Glasgow are probably well suited for hookers at the moment. As well as Seb Stephen, Ben Afshar has signed a 2-year extension. Decent bit of business, do you think, Leslie?
Yes, but I would have preferred to have seen Ben go look for pastures new. I think he's a good scrum half, but he's probably not getting out that sort of third spot. And he's got Jack Oliver very much clipping at his heels. It might be a nice opportunity for him to go somewhere else, new environment, new coaching, new experience, try something different. But when Glasgow have 4 scrum halves, how many do you need? You've got George Horn, you've got Jamie Dobie, you've got Ben Afshar and Jack Oliver all on pro deals now. So yeah, it's a lot, and my concern is he's just going to be there. You know what I mean? I would like to have seen him be a bit more ambitious, perhaps.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've been quite impressed by Jack Oliver. I think he's very good. I was very conscious last weekend. Was it? I don't think it's the weekend just gone, but the weekend before that Franco actually mentioned that he'd like to see Ben Afshar's service speed up. He mentioned that in an interview on TV, and it's very unusual for him to mention something about players. So I do wonder if that was part of the discussions for the signing.
A gentle prod.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, the thing is, you've also got to think about is George Horn going to be continuing with Glasgow? I had to think about this in the car today, actually. I was going up the road thinking about it because I saw that Ben Afshar had re-signed, and I'm thinking, obviously, if you remember a few years ago, George Horn was in the same position. He was sitting behind Ali Price and getting no game time and et cetera, and we're all kind of scratching our head going, what the hell is going on with him? Because his service is incredibly fast. He fits in with the whole Ben White, George Horn style playing for Scotland, and Glasgow seem to have really cottoned onto that now under Franco. But especially if I was George Horn, now okay, fair enough. The game is suiting him at Glasgow, and Glasgow are obviously doing very, very big things with URC and with the European Cup. But
Mhm.
Is it time for George Hunt to think about, well, maybe I'll go and develop myself at a different, an English club, in a Prem club, or in France? It would be quite interesting to see how he goes.
I think. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. I was just going to mention the fact that Alan McDonald, our dear friend Alan, is commenting hugely in the comments here and being rather snarky. And I'm thinking to myself, hang on a minute, if you've got time to sit and be jokey McJoke on the old comments, why are you not on the podcast?
Yeah. I think he's in Sky, and I think the discussion will be the speed of broadband he has.
Right, okay.
Enables him to chat, but not so much to enables him to message, but not so much to participate.
Yeah, he's putting me off.
But yeah, I agree. I think perhaps not the Prem, but I could see Horn developing yet further in France, because they play so much with Le Petit General, as they call it, the 9 in charge, and I think Horn already thinks he's in charge, so I think he would fit in perfectly in France. I think he would get a lot of game time from there. And then on to Edinburgh. There's literally no news. As Leslie mentioned, news roundup, it's tumbleweed. Craig, no signings at Edinburgh, no extensions. Thoughts?
My thoughts are going to ricochet all the way through this podcast about the SRU and about Edinburgh, and the general cluster. And I wasn't going to say the second word, that seems to be happening at Edinburgh. We are absolutely, yeah. I didn't say the other word, so it's all right.
No, I know.
I'm all right. And now I've realised that Alan's now left the chat, and I'm really upset, because I was thinking, I didn't mean it. I was only having a wee laugh with him, and I didn't realise it. I hope he didn't take it personally. We've got no signings. We're meant to be developing these new players. We're meant to be bringing through these new players. Okay, fair enough. We had Ollie, Blythe, Lafferty. We've had a few of them extending. Sort of these young lads now getting their first pro contracts a couple of months ago. So maybe we're just ahead of the curve. I don't know. But there's one big signing that. There's one big signing at the moment or unsigning that I haven't heard yet, and that is Sean Everett being canned. So at this moment in time, I think that's the most important thing. I will take no signings during this crazy signing period to have Sean Everett binned. Look, the guy's a lovely, lovely guy. I'm sure everyone talks about what a nice guy he is, and he's taken a huge amount of a risk to come over, and he's left his family in South Africa, etc. And I really don't want to, make light of the situation. But the SRU are properly just, Edinburgh really. There's no good news with Edinburgh. There's nothing happening within Edinburgh that makes us as fans say, "Wow, I really want to either renew my season ticket, or I want to do this, or I want to follow the team. I want to." Now, a lot of people who are probably listening to this might think, well, you're just a fair weather fan. I'm not. I'm at a point where I'm fed up of the continual hamster wheel of Edinburgh just not performing and being underfunded by not underfunded by the SRU. That's wrong, because they spend a lot of money, but undermanaged by the SRU. They put a really exciting coach in that really, really excited everyone, but didn't give him the backup and kind of forced his arm too early. And we're now in a situation where he's now coaching as the attack coach for the bloody All Blacks. They've brought in older coaches to kind of toughen them up. That's what they need. They need upside. They need to be making sure that they're not driving from one part of Murrayfield to the other in their cars. Great, that's fabulous. But what about their attack? That blunted itself. They brought this guy in who's, after 3 years of nothing, then now he's developing. He's been re-signed so he can develop, new younger and new talent.
Yeah, I think.
Sorry, I was going off on one there.
No, fine. That's fine. I was happy to let you go. Brian Dalglish said in the chat, will anybody want to sign for Kenny Everett? And it's a fair shout. We spoke about it briefly during the week on our chat group, that the fact that there's nothing from Edinburgh, the place that Edinburgh are from a rugby perspective, i.e. losing and not seeming to get any better, and season ticket holders bailing out, players and their management will know this. So they're not going to want to sign if they have alternatives on the table. I can't see. You can imagine, genuinely, I can imagine big players who like to play a running game, big name players, want to play a running game, maybe want to spend time in a top team, queuing up and going, can you see if there's a place available for me at Glasgow? Can you see if Glasgow are looking for anybody in my position? Nobody's doing that with Edinburgh, right? And that is a problem, and I suspect that is part of why we have tumbleweed on the season tickets.
Sorry, I was just trying to put a light on, and it's just fallen down on me. I'm all at sea today. I apologise.
Do not
worry. Edinburgh are like 13th in the URC at the moment, and why would you want to sign for a club that are 13th in the URC, and there's no sign of Sean Everett leaving? So that's the coach you're going to have. Mm-hmm. What would be the incentive? The vibes don't look good. It doesn't look like there's a great culture yet. You think, well, maybe they're not performing yet, but maybe we can turn them around. Or, it looks from the outside looking in to be a very poor. There is not the culture that they have at Glasgow. There is no team that everybody's rallying around. It just seems to be a collection of individuals. From looking on the outside, from looking out in. Why would you want to go there? You just wouldn't. If you're a player, you'll have heard stories about stuff happening at Glasgow. I would imagine, Edinburgh. Sorry, you would know that that's probably a club you want to avoid if you can. And as you said, unless there's no other alternative, basically.
Well, the thing is, you've got players who are Scottish, who are employed by the SRU. Well, they're all employed by the SRU, but you've got players who are playing for Scotland, who have been put in there so that they can be managed, etc. That are sitting back, and I hate talking about this and doing this, because I love Edinburgh and I love these players, but you've got people like Doohan, and you've got people, like Ewan Ashman, etc., who are there to, be looked after for Scotland. So they're sitting back and they're not performing for Edinburgh. Now, okay, I think, for example, Doohan's not getting the ball out on the wings because it's the game plan is not to get the ball out to the wings. But you've got a player like her, if he, even though people may not think he's an international player anymore because they've found him out in defence, etc., but he'd be a phenomenal player for Edinburgh if he would play at the level that he plays for Scotland. Mm-hmm. But they're not getting that out of him, and so you've got a collection of Scottish international players who are there as a safe haven, keeping themselves fit, keeping themselves with their money coming in, keeping themselves going, who, from what I know, when they're asked about the coaching setup, shrug their shoulders and move on, as in move on their conversations. they don't want to talk about it because they can't see anything positive about it. It's absolutely ridiculous to be in this situation. And now you're at, when Leslie's talking about having a group of individuals, they are trying to put themselves in the shop market, because the shop window, because why would you want to stay at Edinburgh? And I don't want, I'm at the point that, I would like to see Darcy go and play, somewhere where he could get, he could excite another group of fans, because I think he's going, I honestly think he did not go as original choice on the Lions because of how he was being used at Edinburgh.
Yes, I tend to agree with that. Interesting, the coaching conversations with players. One of the things that I've picked up on other podcasts and in press I've read and things like that is that what keeps coming back is the players like Sean Everett. Not they like what he's doing with the coaching, they like the style he's trying to play, they like the regime, they like Sean Everett as a person. Now, to me, that says as much by what it doesn't say as what it does. I've worked for some really, really poor managers who I've liked, and equally, I've worked with some excellent managers who I haven't liked one little bit. Liking is neither here nor there, but the fact that this is the story that is coming out instead of we love the system, we love what's being put in place, etc., to me is very interesting. And again, Leslie used the word culture, and to me, it's really a cultural thing.
It's going to sound harsh. I don't really care if Sean Everett's a nice guy. Don't really care. I want him to be a good coach. That's
Absolutely.
what I really want.
Yeah.
He might be the nicest man in the world, but if he can't coach, then why is he there? He's not a vibes guy.
Yeah.
You want around. He's not Kevin Sinfield.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't care if he's nice. I want him to be a good coach. Please work on that.
And there's Latman 460 on the chat saying, isn't that the Danny Wilson problem from Glasgow? As I'm sure they liked him, but were a bit too comfy. And yeah, I think that's right. And everything we've heard is that Danny Wilson's a lovely bloke, and I'm sure he is. But it's a results-driven industry. Unfortunately, Edinburgh are not getting the results, and Mr. Everett doesn't seem to be getting the bum's rush as a result of that. Anyway, moving on to finish up the news. I'm sure we'll come back to Edinburgh when we come to discuss the weekend's games.
Oh, yeah.
The Women's Six Nations starts this weekend. The women are away to Wales on Saturday, kicking off at 16:40 in the afternoon. We will do a quick preview of that and a bit of a chat through the team on the Patreon site. But one of the bits of news that came out this week, which is really quite special, is that there have been 25,000 tickets sold for Scotland v England women's game at Murrayfield. That's pretty good going, right?
It's the biggest Scottish women's sporting event attendance.
Yes, of any sporting event.
Of any sporting event.
Yeah. Absolutely superb. I'm really pleased for them. I did say this when we spoke about moving it to the Big House, and I hope I'm wrong, but I hope it doesn't feel too much like an England home game. I'd like there to be a balance of fans, but that remains to be seen. If even close to half of that 25,000 are Scots fans, that would be fabulous, absolutely fabulous, and I look forward to seeing that. The other game, the under-18s, women's under-18s are playing tomorrow. They are kicking off at 12 noon against Wales, and it's streaming on YouTube. Leslie, I think you said.
Yeah, the under-18s festival has been on the under-20s YouTube channel and on Scottish the SRU YouTube channel as well. So they've done both.
Great stuff. So for those of you that are able to watch that tomorrow, or you probably get it on catch up afterwards as well. And just a wee personal thing, a wee name check for Lily Clarkson, who is starting at prop for Scotland and is my friend's daughter's pal from Strayman. So just a wee name check for her sister of Poppy Clarkson, who's been the senior squad as well. So all going well.
Nice.
Right. Shall we do a quick roundup of the games? Shall we go in chronological order and do Glasgow first, since I know you pair are both predominantly Edinburgh fans, so we'll keep them till last and do our thing with that. So the Glasgow game, 25-21. It was a wee bit squeaky at times. The Bulls went ahead initially with a penalty before Williamson scored on 17 minutes. But I think that's when Horn tweaked his ankle, because it was initially, I think it was Matt Ferguson going through, then Horn on the burst, and just got tracked down short, but popped the ball up to Williamson. Both games, and I was looking at them on review, and both of them were very much score on score. And so Edinburgh scored on 17 minutes, the Bulls scored again on 25, and then another on 30 minutes before Dempsey scored on 33 minutes, and then with the Bulls score on penalty on 39 minutes to go in at half-time 14-12 up to the Bulls. There were some people saying that they thought that Glasgow would batter the Bulls, and okay, the conditions were not completely conducive to that kind of rugby, but it was a wee bit nervy by that point. But Glasgow came back and did Glasgow things. Angus Fraser scored in 56 minutes, Stafford on 71. The Bulls scored again, making it 22-21 with 4 minutes to play. Glasgow went upfield and did something that is as rare as hen's teeth. They kicked a penalty to put it outside of 3 points and took the game safely home. The penalty actually went over the bar on 80 minutes dead, so it was quite good. Closer than we thought it was going to be, Leslie.
Yes. I think I had Glasgow by 10 was my prediction, but I think the scoreline kind of flattered the Bulls a little bit because they scored right at the very end, didn't they, which kind of put a bit of a gloss on it.
76 minutes was their last
Yeah,
try.
and Glasgow could have potentially had another one after that, but they ended up taking the penalty instead. It just Glasgow doing what they do, isn't it? I never was watching it. I watched it back again today, and I didn't. At no point did you think, "Oh, Glasgow are going to lose this." It was never. It's much just like what we talked about last week. Yeah, okay, the Bulls went ahead, but you never felt, "Oh, this got away from Glasgow." It always felt, "Yeah, they'll get this back. It'll be fine," and they did. Yeah, feel like a bit of a broken record, but. Yeah, they do what they do. They just plow on through you. And,
yeah. Interesting to me. I mean, we know that the South Africans play a very forward-oriented game, and the Bulls took shots at goal on 2 occasions where you know that Glasgow would have, and did later in the game, go for the corner and maul over. All the games, or a lot of the games this weekend, were real try-fests. Craig, is this a permanent change we're seeing in rugby? That you can take penalties if you want, but for the most part, tries are going to win games.
I think it's an odd one. I think that there's a mix of different things. I think, there's a lot we're finding now that, especially, for example, in era of Northampton Saints and sort of Harlequins, etc. Although they're not doing very well just now, but a lot of teams are playing now. Defence is okay, but we're not going to be absolutely 100% a defence style team. We're going to just attack and score as many more tries than you can. We're noticing it with, for example, Jack Nienaber, who's struggling a bit at Leinster because he's trying to put this defence-heavy, safe team in place, but they're finding themselves being, trying to attack as well at the same time, and it's not fitting together. You're either just going to be one of those loose attack teams, and defend as best as you can, or you're going to be one of these strong defensive teams, but you're not going to score as many tries as you should. Look at England, for example, defence heavy, not a massive amount of attack mind. Look at Scotland, lots and lots of tries, maybe not performing maybe they're not what's the word? Performing is the wrong word, but they're not scoring enough tries to beat other teams, etc. There's still plenty of tries to beat France, mind you. So it's an odd one. Glasgow very, very much are attack, but their defence is very, very good. And if you look at, for example, the Bulls came to absolutely smash Glasgow. They came in to absolutely just tear them apart, and they didn't get that chance. They put in some big hits, and they defended well, and they did a good job. But Glasgow just seemed to have an answer for them at every point in time. So, and just with Glasgow and as a whole, just as Leslie said, Glasgow might be 20 points down, but you still think there's a chance. And they've shown that regularly,
Glasgow absolutely have this, as many big winning teams do. They begin to get an aura about them, and it's a confidence in themselves, but it's also it also must do something to the sides they're playing against. It's like, you can imagine playing against them and you're thinking, dear God, they keep coming back. Will they not stop? Yeah. And that's a great place to be.
I was looking at some stats earlier, and Glasgow across the Champions Cup games so far have the best tackle percentage of anybody. So they are the best for defence, if you like. Well, yeah. I know that's a very simple stat.
It's a simple metric, but it's still.
Yes. But it does show how that what you think you're seeing is what you're seeing.
Yes. One of the things I was very interested in as well is that I think the penalty count in the Glasgow game went something like 14-9 against the Bulls. So the Bulls 14 penalties, Glasgow 9 penalties. But I don't think that tells the whole story. One of the things that I was fascinated by was there was a couple of phases around the 70-minute mark, just before Glasgow, just before Stafford McDowell's try, actually, on 71 minutes. And Glasgow had two sets of phases. One, there was a penalty, there was advantage given. Then the referee, Monsieur Brousset, said new advantage, 3 times. And then Glasgow, I can't remember, spilled the ball or something and went to the corner again. Then the second set, they got an advantage, and then he called new advantage 4 times that I could make out. So that's basically giving away 9 penalty offences in 2 sets. A says something about the pressure that Glasgow must be putting on there. But B, Glasgow went and scored in the end. but the ref must have left his cards in the changing room. But that amount of pressure, okay, 14 penalties were awarded, 2 of them in these 2 phases, but they actually committed 9 different penalties for those 2 penalty awards. And that says loads about how Glasgow play, I think. The pressure's just incredible. Okay. Edinburgh. Leinster 49, Edinburgh 31. Quick précis of the game. Leinster scored after 1 minute, and then after 8 minutes, and by now they were well ahead of a point a game. And I have to say, I was going to consider whether I should even watch it because it would drive me nuts. But then Furlong threw a pass to the deck that Shield, to his credit, picked up and ran in on 15 minutes. Then a fantastic break from Ross Thompson only 4 minutes later for another score, and suddenly they're definitely in a match. Again, it then went to and fro for a wee bit. Leinster trying 24 minutes, an intercept, another try from Thompson on 27 minutes, then Leinster again on 36 minutes, then a final intercept. This is only the first half. And Curry scores an intercept on 39 minutes to go in 28-26 at half-time to Leinster, which I have to say, I didn't see happening before the match, and I certainly didn't see it happening 8 minutes into the match. And then they came out. Van der Fleer had one rightfully disallowed for a knock-on in 41 minutes. Then Darcy scored an absolute worldie on 51 minutes, and Leinster are actually ahead at 31-28. Unfortunately, that was the end of Edinburgh's scoring, and Leinster cracked on with another 3 tries on 55, 62 and 65 minutes. It feels like the scoreline was what we were expecting, possibly even, better in Edinburgh's favour than we were expecting. But I thought Edinburgh played well. Craig?
Yeah, I think, there's a mixture of 2 things. I think Edinburgh, first of all, Edinburgh played well. They read the game well. Ross Thompson read the game well. Again, though, it's individuals taking the chances that they get. Leinster absolutely and utterly underestimated Edinburgh. And, they've come out and they've tried to, what we're going to do today is we're going to try a bit of attacking for a change. And this is what we're going to try. We're going to, instead of grinding the teams into pure boredom and then scoring a couple of tries, what we're going to do is we're going to try and attack them. And that's where the intercepts came from. They were lazy. They were imprecise, and they were. If that was Glasgow would have absolutely spanked them.
Yes.
And I think Edinburgh played well as they are playing at the moment, if you know what I mean. They played like an 8th or a 9th place team rather than a 13th place team. And I think it just, this is Edinburgh all over the place. They come out and they'll put in a good performance, and then they'll absolutely throw it away again when they're away in South Africa for 2 rounds. It's just, they bring the bench on, the bench comes on, and then all of a sudden there's a couple of tries scored at the end because people are tired or they're not trying hard enough or whatever the problem is. But yeah, I think the score, if you look at the scoring, you've got 3 intercepts or 2 intercepts in one. I think it's 2 or 3 intercepts. So that's where your scores have come from, and then a moment of beauty from Darcy. There's no there's no tries coming from from plays.
Yes.
These were all off the hoof. And again, as we talked earlier on in the podcast, it's players' individual magic that's creating these tries, and so that's. I'm not trying to take anything away from Edinburgh. Edinburgh played well and showed up, whereas Leinster didn't show up, and still cruised a win. Mm-hmm. So it just
It's I kind of felt that somebody gave Leinster a shake halfway through and said, all right, we really need to be doing this. And they stepped up. But yeah, I agree. And I know we've spoken about it. There is one of the problems I see with the Edinburgh attack is that it's really basic schoolboy stuff. It's, there's no guile, there's no cleverness, there's no deceit in the Edinburgh setup that is creating space, is creating opportunities for people. Darcy's try was a worldie. Thompson's try, his first one was absolutely superb. And again, completely from individual moments. The other three were all from 2 intercepts and 1 scooping up a ball on the deck. I've heard people discuss that possibly that was due to Edinburgh's strategy getting amongst them. But I'm a bit scared.
Bold to assume Edinburgh had a strategy.
Yeah, I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, I would love that. I would love to think that. I would love to be in the position of those people who do say that and think that. That would make me feel a bit better. And right now I am not happy or excited about Edinburgh / the SRU. So I'd love to be able to sit back and go, well, they obviously came out with a game plan. But their game plans, I'm sorry, but Edinburgh's game plan shouldn't be let's hope that the other team aren't going to be on their top game today. And we'll, so anyway, sorry, I'll get off that. No, I'm on a high horse and I'm not going to get off it at the moment. I'll need to get off it.
Not at all. I mean, we are here to discuss Edinburgh, and
as you say, Craig, if your attacking strategy is I'm going to intercept 3 balls, then you have a problem because that should not be your attacking strategy.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
My comments about the game are pretty much exactly what Craig has said, that it was very much, pieces of individual brilliance, bit of luck, and being in the right place to get those crappy offloads from Leinster. And Leinster should be embarrassed by having 3 intercepts from Edinburgh, all teams. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to Edinburgh, but they have been so poor all season, and you should not be losing 3 tries from nothing to Edinburgh.
Well, up until 60 minutes, they had an opportunity to be punted out the European Cup by a 13th place URC team.
Yes.
Who have not beaten a team placed higher than 10th in URC all season.
So yeah, I totally agree, Leslie. They should be sitting there in the changing rooms. In fact, if I was a French team owner, they'd be travelling home by bus rather than by air. Oh no, actually, they were playing in the Aviva, which is, funnily enough, their neutral home country stadium. Although they're just playing there just now as well, and they're the only team that get that in the quarterfinals. It's anyway.
Yeah. No, it's I think Edinburgh have been incredibly disappointing this year. I found myself I was looking up one of the scores in the Champions Cup, in the Challenge Cup rather, for my one of my 50-22 choices later. And I was just checking the score, and it suddenly occurred to me, Edinburgh will not be playing a Champions Cup match for at least 18 months. They'll be in the Challenge Cup, but they're not going to be back in the Champions Cup now until a year in. When's the first game? October? Something like that?
Yeah, well,
That's
what happens.
That's got huge significance in terms of the monetary side, if nothing else.
Yep.
But this is but the thing is though, and this is where, this is and the pot hath boiled over. The issue, we've got a team where all your superstars are paid are there and are there to be looked after and coddled to make sure they can play for Scotland whenever they're ready. Okay, you've got young guys coming through who are maybe just not there yet, but they're coming through. Okay, and then you've got a load of other players who have played for many different teams all throughout UK and URC, etc., who are just looking for the next contract. The problem you have is that we are, the squad is a lot smaller than, for example, Leinster. Okay, Leinster are exactly the same. They've got a group of Irish players who are being coddled and looked after by the union. They have a group of players who are professionals who are moved from different places to come in and play, and then they've got the young teams coming through. The problem with Leinster is they've got a massive unchecked wage bill. They've got a massive player pool to pull from, and they are willing to put in players and go, right, if you can't, we're going to challenge you, and we're going to play these young players, and they're going to come through, and they want to win something. At the moment with Edinburgh, it just seems to be almost a retirement home. It's somewhere relaxing. Everyone's being chilled and relaxed. Oh, I'm being looked after because I'm a superstar for Scotland. There doesn't seem to be anyone sitting there and turning the app, going in. I always remember Brad Pitt when anyone's seen Moneyball, the film Moneyball, and he comes into the dressing room after their 8th or 9th loss in a row, and he hears and there's a boy dancing on the table, and they're all singing and laughing and jovial, and he takes a baseball bat to the music box, to the stereo, and he says that what you've just been doing is not losing. Then when he knocks out the music box, he goes, "That's what losing sounds like." And there's no. I just get the feeling there's nobody going in there and turning the place upside down and saying, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think. I don't know. I would love to. I would love to be a fly in the wall and see what's actually going on behind the scenes. But fundamentally, what we have is we have two teams in Scotland, and one of them is grossly underperforming for whatever reason. I do see a lot of argument online that Edinburgh have been underperforming like that for years, and possibly not to this degree, but you could argue that case to an extent. So they need somebody to fix it. After 3 years, Sean Everett's not the guy, and he's not going to fix it after another 2 either. And that's clearly a bit of a challenge.
We have two teams. One coach is a firebrand who's there to build his team and to get an international job back. And we've got another team that's got a babysitter.
Yes, I think that's a very valid way of putting it.
The thing is, because Edinburgh are performing so poorly, it is impacting the national team because these players are performing poorly, and therefore Gregor's like, sorry lads, you're not performing. Can I trust you? Apart from, I mean, he picked Darcy, Gilchrist, Ewan Ashman, and another. I don't remember who.
Scuba.
Yeah, but like that roughly half your team. Roughly should be coming from Edinburgh, and you're getting 4. And Darcy wasn't even picked for at least one game. He was on bench or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't have that.
No, and people talk about losing becoming a habit, but winning becomes a habit as well. And I have very little doubt that part of Scotland's modest success this Six Nations is due to the Glasgow players being in there and being in the habit of winning. Simple as that. I guess the upside for the players is they get a week off next week. So they can all do a wee bit of extra training.
More relaxation than the
more relaxation.
Get up.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe we could practice some goal kicking. Just a thought.
Yeah, Ross could possibly do with a bit of that too. Yeah.
Just get your tea out. Have a wee practice. I mean, never too early to practice.
He just doesn't get enough chance in matches, I suspect.
Well.
So, okay, that's probably a good segue for us to bid farewell to our lovely public and move over to our even lovelier patrons. Remember, if you do want to join Patreon, you can find us on Patreon/Scottish Rugby Blog, or is it Scottish Rugby Podcast?
I think it's Scottish Rugby Podcast.
Scottish Rugby Podcast, thank you, Craig. And for £3 plus VAT, you can get all the extra content. There's week in week, there is habitually at least the same again, sometimes more on Patreon, as well as our Hands in the Ruck and our 50-22 sections where we talk about things that have maybe ticked us off a wee bit, things that have ripped our knitting, and other things that have thoroughly enjoyed us about this sport we follow. So on that note, I will bid you good night, and we will move over to Patreon.
Bye.
Kitty.
And we're good. Do you need a break, Leslie, or are you good to just crack up?
No, I'm fine. I've been and got a gin and tonic.
Excellent. Yeah, I've brought a glass of wine with me. So
nice.
This business of my office being miles away from the kitchen is really killing me. In the new place, 2 flights.
Need a fridge in the office.
Yeah, that's
wine cooler or something.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a consideration, actually. I'll just wait on Craig toddling back. We've still got 3 listening to us. That's interesting. I have no idea what I did with that stream location, Leslie. I'll keep an eye on it because it's been the same number we've used day in, day out.
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah.
All good.
Yeah, but we don't really want a new one happening every week, so I want to get to the bottom of what I actually did. Still, Keep an eye on it. Okay, so welcome to our Patreons, to the Patreon part of the pod. We're going to have a little look at the two big games coming up this weekend, and then move on to our Hands in the Ruck and 50-22 sections. First of all, Glasgow into the quarterfinals, still at home because of their placement in their group, having won. Interestingly, Glasgow won all their groups with bonus point victories, all the group matches with bonus point victories, and won the round of 16 with a bonus point victory. I think they're the only team to have done that all the way through, which is pretty blinking special. Blinking, I can say that word for them.
You can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's good.
yeah, pretty bloody good. 1500 on Saturday, they're home to Toulon. Toulon hasn't had a massively successful tournament, but they've still got some huge names in there. Going to be a tough one, Leslie.
I have some bad feelings about this game. I just worry it's a game too far, and that I think if it's, we know that George might be fit, but if he's not, I think that will be a big concern.
Yeah.
Now the only positives are Toulon are not great away from home. I mean, Craig and I at Edinburgh have managed to beat them, so Glasgow should be fine. But
Yeah, if Glasgow can't beat them, well, what does that say about us?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just it does worry me because it's it's a long season. Glasgow's squad is not huge. I just worry that it's just going to be the game too far. I hope it's not. I hope I'm really wrong, but
Yeah.
I am a wee bit concerned.
Yeah. They've got some huge names in that Toulon squad. Not least of all, Scotland's own Ben White at scrum half.
Yeah. Ben White and
Part-time
Baptiste
scrum
Saran.
Yeah, Ben White and Baptiste Saran going up against the might of Ben Afshar and Jack Oliver.
Dan Lancaster is your 10.
Yeah. Who's Toulon's 10? I forget.
Albornoz,
Right, okay, yeah.
the Argentinian.
Yeah. And they've got Olivon, who they've been playing. I think they've been playing Olivon as second row, have they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have.
So, I mean, saying that, usually you look at a lot of these big French names and go, well, they're big French names. They didn't really scare our guys at Murrayfield.
No, that's very true. Very true.
I don't think Glasgow will be scared. I think that they're either there's two ways it's going to go. They're either going to just smash Toulon and it won't be up, and everyone and this is Glasgow's year and it's going to be the crowning moment, or they're going to trip over Toulon, and Toulon will come out and just outplay them or smother them, and stop their attack. It's because if George Horn's not playing, you've got a couple of players who are fairly new, big bright lights, etc. Big team coming along, but on the other side of things, they're playing at Scotstoun, so it's almost like a big comfy jacket, So I think I would hope that Glasgow are going to beat Toulon. Because if Edinburgh can beat Toulon away, at home, etc., then of course we would expect Glasgow to. I really do think that this could be Glasgow's year. I'm not entirely sure they'll win it, but I think they could get all the way to the final if they continue the way they're going.
Yeah. No, I tend to agree. I'm actually. despite the fact that he's 44, I'm actually not disappointed to see that Manonu is not playing, because he is a little bit talismanic. Not to mention, still incredibly fierce. But let's be perfectly honest, 44 is only 10 years younger than some of us, right? That's bonkers.
It's older than some of us, eh? Come on.
Begging your pardon massively, Liz. I'm sorry. I meant the grey hairs here. But yeah, that's. I mean, it was a rightful ban. I don't know if any of you saw it. It was basically a flying headbutt. It didn't even vaguely resemble a tackle. It was dreadful. So I wasn't at all surprised to find them getting banned. But yeah, I look forward to this one with interest. 3 o'clock Saturday. Yeah, if Glasgow absolutely, they have it about them to beat Toulon. If some of the young lads don't get starstruck, I'm hoping that enough of the more senior backline have stayed fit. Fit enough so that they will be able to put a shoulder around the young lads that are having to be there. Of course, as we said right at the top of the pod, it is being touted as possible that Horn will be fit. So that would make
hopefully
that would make a huge difference.
But then, would you take the risk with Horn against a Toulon side that could be beaten quite easily? Fingers crossed. And keep them and try and keep them fit for a potential semi-final against a team that you're definitely going to need him to be at his best.
Yeah, it's a great question. What would you do?
I honestly, I'd put, as he has done regularly this season, I would, because if you listen to a few of the podcasts that I do, there's a lot of people who are turning around going, well, Franco can take one player out and put another player in, and they seem to perform very, very similarly. You take Hugh Jones out, who is Hugh Jones basically, and Stafford McDowell walks into there and has a player of the match game.
Yeah.
And this, for me, it speaks a lot about Glasgow, and I'm sure our friends at the Weege will be pleased that I've spent a little bit of time praising them, and I'm going to come back and say something that they're probably not like, but they have a team of club players, very, very good club players, and a sprinkling of internationalists. And I think that they are all playing off the same hymn sheet. They're all playing together. They're all moving forward. So they can bring in a Dan Lancaster instead of a Gavin Hastings. God, what am I talking? Instead of a Hastings. And they will perform to a certain level that will get them through. And I think that's the makings of a European Cup winning team, is being able to do that. Because as we all know, that to win a European Cup, you need to be able to play your own competition, your own championship, and then play in a European Cup and be as strong, if not stronger, than your own competition. So I think that's got a lot to do with Glasgow. I think Glasgow have a phenomenal group of team players that are backed up by some sparkling internationalists.
Yeah, I think that's very fair, and I know we've spoken about it both as a group and also on here about the Glasgow players always talking about trust the process. This is what they do, and that's exactly what you're saying, Craig. So you take George Horn out and you put Afshar in, and skills are slightly different, speed is slightly different, but it's fitting straight back into that process. It's putting taking one square peg out of the square hole and replacing it with another square peg. Simple as that. Yeah.
I know it's maybe unlikely, but I'm just throwing it out there. Would if George is not fit and he can't play, would you start Jack Oliver instead of Ben Afshar? Because he is a bit more like a George than Ben is, I would say.
Yeah,
And you have the opportunity to take him off at half time if you wanted, or even before if things are going really wrong, and you bring Ben on.
yeah, I could see that happening. I've been really impressed with Oliver when he's been on. I think you're right. I think he's very much Horn-esque. His speed around and his speed in getting to the breakdown is superb.
Yeah.
As is his service. Yeah, now that would be quite something. Because I strongly suspect that Toulon will be prepping to play against George Horn and or Ben Afshar as the starter. So that might be a bit of a curveball as well.
Yeah, I'd probably go with you on that one, because the thing is, and what I was trying to say earlier on was, that is maybe what you do, is that you've got this big heavyweight team coming to play against the heavyweight Glasgow team that they're expecting, and as they say, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition. It's actually we're going to name what you may think is a weak team, but actually it's just as strong, but it's got different names in it.
Yeah.
And it just puts you off your game. Not only that, but they're coming up to what looks like it's going to be a wet and windy Scotstoun, a plastic playing surface, and quite frankly, a baying, massive Warriors crowd, who are, whether we like it or not, or whether I'm jealous or not, or whatever you want to call it, who are the 16th player for Warriors.
I was just about to say exactly that. The crowd volume is just incredible, and as you say, yeah, the 16th Warrior. It is not to be underestimated in the slightest.
Don't get me wrong, as an Edinburgh fan, I hate them.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking hate them. No, I don't. I love you Glasgow people. I don't. I hate you. But they really have. I hate the whole "We Are Warriors" chant. You know why? Because it's good, and I fucking hate it. It's just that. It's that thing. It's just it's just sour grapes. It's just it was the old Glasgow chant of you get all the money because you're in Edinburgh, you're right next to the SRU. Well, no, you're getting all the money at the moment, and you're doing pretty damn good with it, But yeah, I think the Glasgow crowd really do a lot for the team.
Yes, absolutely, and I keep meaning to get along. I've never beaten Scotstoun, and I keep meaning to get along. And to be perfectly honest, it's as much to do with I want to experience that atmosphere as anything else.
I'll take a pair of binoculars though, because you can't really see the team play because they're so far away from them. Aye. And also,
I couldn't see the team when I was at Edinburgh because I was standing in front of a pillar all day.
Don't start your pish with that now. I've got small victories here, and I'm trying to take them.
I actually, to be perfectly honest, I got a standing ticket when I had the season ticket, and the pillars don't come into play then because you naturally just move to deal with them. But the couple of times I've been to matches and had a poorly positioned seat, the pillars have driven me absolutely bananas.
But Glasgow have them too in the stands that are the lower cost stands, etc. They've got the same sort of pillar system as well. But no, I'm sorry, but Scotstoun's a shit place to get to. You can't get there's like having the trains going past so close. Why is there no fucking station there? And it's just like there's just no way to get try to park at the place.
In the area is dreadful. I had one of my good pals actually had a house on Scotstoun Road for a while, and I used to go visit them at the weekends and things like that. And it was a bitch even then. And that's before you put 10,000 rugby fans or 7,000 rugby fans into the area,
But please go and see Glasgow play. I would not want to put you off.
Oh no, don't worry. I'll still do that. Thank you. Right, so the other match we have at the weekend is or do you want to make a score prediction for Glasgow before we move on? Or will we just leave it with hope they win?
I think it's going to be a 10-point game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a 20. No, hold on, wait a minute. Call it 24-14 game against
Right.
Toulon.
Interesting.
I think they'll absolutely spank them.
Right.
I have Toulon by 4
Oof.
on my Super Brew predictor. Yeah,
Hmm.
I'm not completely convinced I can deal with that.
See, the problem I have is
Not
that I
sure.
don't mind it. I'm really hoping I'm wrong. Sorry, that sounds terrible. But I'm trying
Edinburgh fan here.
I'm trying to be balanced. You see, I'm trying to be balanced, but it's not working.
I don't think it's insignificant that Glasgow have scored 4 tries or more in every one of their Champions games, and I think they will do the same. And I don't think Toulon will be able to live with that. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and I think it could be as much as 32-24, something like that. I think Glasgow will absolutely. I think Glasgow could potentially spank them. Either that or they'll lose. There'll be one or the other. Okay. Moving on. Definitely moving on this time to the next game in this weekend's panoply is Scotland's women's 15 away to Wales in Cardiff. They're playing at the Principality, and the kickoff is 16:40. I've actually written, I don't know why I've written in my notes, but I've written 16:40 Cardiff time. Different from Jedburgh time.
Believe me, if you've ever been to Cardiff on a Wales game day, you'll know it's its own wee centre of the universe.
Oh, mate! At one point, I had been to more internationals in Cardiff than I had in Edinburgh because I lived in Cardiff for 8 years, right? So.
Right. Well, I just remember when I was there the last time. I thought I was like the guy that that guy, the person that's on the Pathy films that's commenting on the Hindenburg going down, and it's like the humanity, oh the humanity, and you just seeing what's happening outside the stadium. It's amazing.
It's an experience. I got to be honest. Having been to the only ground I haven't been to now is Italy. The benefit of the Cardiff Stadium being right smack bang in the middle of town. I mean, it'd be like Murrayfield being in Prince Street Gardens, you know?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Bonkers.
Being able to walk out the pub and into your seat in about 2 minutes. It's amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It's fabulous. And I think this is the first time the women have played at the Principality. I think they've generally been at did they play at Ninian Road or Cardiff?
They played in the Stoop part of the Cardiff Blues. That's
the actual Arms Park.
Yeah. The end bit of the Millennium Stadium. You know, the Cardiff have got like there's the Millennium Stadium, and then it's just next door. Just part
Is that not actually the Arms Park, the old Arms Park?
Oh, is it? I don't have no idea.
Cardiff's grounds, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That was I think historically that was the actual Arms Park. And if I forgot any Welsh listeners, feel free to correct me. But I think historically that ground that Cardiff play on is actually the Arms Park, whereas right next door, taped on the end of it, is the National Stadium.
Right.
Yeah.
I think women have played there before. I'm sure they played England there.
Right. But our team have not.
Scotland haven't. No.
No.
The big news, I guess, for our lot is that it's Sione Fukufuka's first match in charge. He's missing some big names through injury. Anne Young, Sarah Bonner, Evie Gallagher, Lisa Thompson, and Fran McGee are all out injured. That's not insignificant, right, Leslie?
Oh my God. No, it is not. I think for me, Anne in front row is probably one of the bigger losses, along with Evie.
Yeah.
Evie especially, because she does so much work. She's like turnover queen of the PWR. To lose her is massive.
Yeah.
And we don't have, a bit like the men, we don't have huge depth in the front row. So to lose anybody from the front row is always a bit rubbish. So yeah. Bonner, I love Sarah Bonner, but she did miss a chunk of game time. Was it the World Cup or was it just before that? I can't remember. Because she was injured. So her loss will be a bit less felt, perhaps, because we've also got some youngsters kind of coming through in that area, so it's maybe not quite so bad. But yeah, that front row is a worry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, Emily Kilbra coming in uncapped at number 8. She's got big shoes to fill. She's got Jade Conkle, Evie Gallagher shoes to fill. Now, don't get me wrong, she's not starting at number 8 uncapped for a reason. If she's she's starting, she's obviously doing the job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how she goes. But that's a big shout at number 8, because as we know with Scotland women, that's the player that changes the game.
Yeah. I was listening to Rachel Malcolm talking about the Six Nations, and I think it sounds like they're setting expectations from the get-go that this is about blooding younger players and getting them game time. It's the start of a 4-year cycle for the World Cup.
Yeah.
They need to freshen things up. They need new people, and this is, they are going to lose games along the way. But
Sean Effort's been talking to the coaches.
Yeah, he's actually in charge. So I think you need to take that into consideration that is going to be probably quite tough through injury, new people coming in, new coach. That it might not click, and it might take a bit of time to gel and give people experience, and that maybe the expectations for this tournament shouldn't be too high.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the way I was hearing it being couched as well. It's interesting that Emily Kubra starting, but also Demi Swan, who's a prop on the bench, Helen Bogan at second row, and Rihanna Darragh at scrum half. And Alan will not forgive me if I don't mention that Rihanna Darragh is out of Highland Rugby.
Yes.
They're all new caps. So 1 new cap starting and 3 on the bench is not an insignificant number for an international.
But also, it's standard. It's standard fare at the start of a 4-year cycle, and it's
absolutely.
It's great to see that we have positivity moving forward.
Yeah. No, that's very true. Very true. They are. I'm looking forward to seeing what style this guy plays. Brian Dalglish is also making a point, and he's quite right. Having Meryl Smith back, and she's been out for 18 months.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
It's been a long while, but having Meryl Smith back, considering that particularly that Lisa T is injured, is fantastic news. Because Meryl, I do like the way Meryl Smith plays. She's a really good player. So So yeah, it's difficult to know what to say. I had a look at the Wales team. They have 2 debutants as well. Beyond that, I don't know that many of them. Some of their big names also missing by the look of things. So it will be interesting to see.
My concern for Scotland is the Welsh front row on the bench. So Molly Reardon and Maisie Davis are very young props. Well, hooker and prop, but they are very good, and Maisie will just bully you around the park. So that is a worry that she's going to come on. She's played a bit of Celtic Challenge. My Welsh pals, I'm sorry, I've forgotten exactly which team she plays for, but she was signed up to, I think, either Bristol or Gloucester Hartpury as well. But she's been playing a lot of Celtic Challenge. But yeah, I mean, you've got Alana Law Powers as well. She's also very good. You know, that's a strong bench that they have. There is a chance that we will be bullied around the park that second half. But I guess it's experience, and we'll see how we go. But yeah,
Ellis Martin is not. Ellis Martin's not an inexperienced replacement for Lana. Demi Swan, I didn't know an awful lot about her, but she seems to be quite well liked. I think Exeter she plays for. And she's Canadian, I think I'm right in saying, qualified through parentage for Scotland.
Right.
And of course, Howe of Fife's own Molly Pullman. So,
go the Pullman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Molly's very good, yeah.
So, hoping that we can hold our own, but that will be telling as well.
So I was chatting with the Welsh girlies earlier today, and they were saying that Ellis has been injured for quite some time, and this is her just coming back. And they were sort of saying that she's been rushed back, that she's perhaps not ready because she's not playing club yet. So it is a worry that she is being rushed back because we don't have enough hookers.
Right. So they might actually.
That is my worry.
Right. Yeah, that is a concern.
Yeah. The shout out to Hattie and Julie of the Rugby Treehouse for filling me in on Ellis and our injury woes.
Interestingly, I've just I heard an interview. You guys maybe heard the same thing with the new forwards coach who used to coach Canada women.
Yeah.
So interesting. I wonder if he has had any connection with Demi Swan in the past. She's clearly not been capped, but it'd be interesting if maybe that's why she's in, because he's got some insider knowledge there or whatever. So yes, somewhat inconveniently, it's going to overlap just with the Glasgow game. Glasgow kicks off at 1500. Scotland v Wales kicks off at 1640. So we'll probably find it overlaps by 15 minutes or so, which is just rugby. Honestly, couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery within a competition, let alone across two competitions. I take it the women's is on BBC. I'm assuming it'll be on iPlayer. Do we know if that's the case?
I would assume so.
Yeah.
Usually is.
I would assume so. If there's any change to that, for you patrons out there, watch our socials. We'll post the location. Otherwise, assume that it's on BBC iPlayer as normal. So yeah, I genuinely wouldn't want to make a score prediction about this. I would love to see the Scottish women go down and absolutely spank the Welsh women. But genuinely, new coach, new players, some of our more established players injured. I don't even know how to call this one.
Yeah, I think it'll be a close game, but I think Scotland will win it. Or maybe I'm hoping that Scotland will win it. But anyway, that's my thoughts on it. I think it'll be a 20, 21, 22 game, something like that.
Okay. Well, I hope it goes that way. Leslie, do you have this in your Super Brew, or does it not come up?
Yes, I have Wales to win, just
Right.
because they're at home.
Yeah.
And their Celtic Challenge teams have been going significantly better than the two Scottish teams. So that might play into it. But yeah, I think it'll be Wales by 10 maybe.
Yeah. That's sorry, Brian Douglas. Thank you, Brian. Has just posted some games are on BBC Two and also on iPlayer. So there you go. That's great news. Thank you for that, Brian. I appreciate it. Okay, moving on. I guess we should do a bit of this so that people don't get upset with
Hands in the air, who has got their hands in the air? Hands in the air, hands in the air, who has got their hands in the air?
So, just before we get into our own ones, as ever, I would like to mention somebody that's posted. I haven't seen any others come up on the socials except the one from Colin Black, who has said, "Hands in the Rock, always Irish press, just always." And apart from the fact that he has supplied no more detail than that, kind of get what he's saying. My personal irritation with some of the Irish stuff this week has been specifically that Sale have been completely forgotten about by some of the punditry, and we've seen it, and the people on socials and that kind of thing have assumed that Sale will just be completely rolled over, and the chances are they'll beat Glasgow anyway. I think we saw that thing from was it Bernard Jackman that said
they should beat Glasgow easily to the final, or paraphrase that.
I think he basically said they need to play better than that against Glasgow and against whoever they meet in the final.
Yes.
So he's assuming Sale's a no-brainer and that they'll beat Glasgow in, which is
It's Leinster Sale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, listen to Jim for the mind for the gym. Mind Jim for the mind.
Ford's masterclass.
Yeah, I'll tell you, like if Sale turn around and go, right, okay, we're in this, they could dislodge Leinster. If Leinster play the way that they've been playing, and Sale play really, really well, which they can do.
Yep.
But I do think that Sale are a bit of a shadow of themselves because all the Duprees have decided to leave. There's about 6 different Dupree brothers that have been through Sales.
George Ford is more than capable of running a team to beat Leinster. His struggle this week will be having to get G-Wagon Boy out of his back pocket to give him enough room to run after completely battering Harlequins last weekend. It was. I actually watched the game, and it was quite an enjoyable game. But they absolutely smothered Harlequins. It was a masterclass from Ford.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah. So that was it from Colin. The Irish press. I haven't done a check because I don't like to check all our socials and everything while I'm actually on here presenting. I can't see anything, so You're all going to have to just deal with it. If you're too late, you're too late. Craig, I'll come to you first. What's been ripping your knitting this week, my friend?
The fucking SRU.
Welcome back, John Anderson.
Yeah, absolutely. No. It's not. It's not Scottish rugby fans. It's the fucking SRU. I'm sorry, but I am. I think this has been boiling with me for some time, and you guys know this because I'll put snippets of this in the chat that we've been having. They've ruined my club. They've ruined my love for my club. And I don't usually on here tell you to listen to a podcast that isn't ours, apart from David's at the Scum of the Earth. Love to you, David. But if you go and listen to the BBC fake Scottish, fake news, the fake Scottish Rugby podcast, they have Rachel Malcolm on, and they talk about the contract negotiations just before the World Cup and leading into the World Cup. Tom English and Andy Burke talk about it, and you can still hear the hurt in Rachel Malcolm's voice.
Yeah, big time. And
to hear what she has gone through, and I'll come back to her later, but I'm surprised that just with I suppose it's more the fact of with the sheer will that Franco Smith has had to drag Glasgow Warriors out of fucking the SRU's orbit and gravity. He has done a fabulous job because everything else that the SRU seem to touch has gone to shit.
Yeah.
And I am so angry about it that there are people out here in the world and real business people, real people that sell things, real people that talk about rugby, real people who coach rugby that could do a far fucking better job than these fucking idiots.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I want to be polite about them because I'd like to get more access to Scotland players and to Edinburgh and Glasgow players for the podcast, and I would love to, not have a. What did they say that we had we've got a whatever. Fuck, they were very derogatory about us. I'm not here to call them out for. Okay, fuck, I am here to call them out for the fucking the stance on trans women, the stance on mediocrity and accepting mediocrity when you for the coaches for certain teams, their promotion from within to celebrate mediocrity in other parts of the SRU. We are the best, we are this, the long fucking queues at the women's toilets and not having cold water at fucking Murrayfield. All these things that could be solved easily, and they don't fucking get off their arses and do it. And I just feel at this moment in time, there's only one thing saving the SRU at this moment in time, and that's fucking Glasgow Warriors. And I hate saying it. I'm fucking annoyed by saying it. The Glasgow Warriors are making them look like they know what they're doing. They've paid, God knows what they've paid Nusafora to come in. And I could do a bit, like, he is celebrated as doing a great job for Ireland, but he doesn't seem to have done a very good job for Scotland. In fact, it's probably what Scotland seem to have done is allowed him to get some good air miles.
So I think he's celebrated in Ireland by the IRFU.
Yeah,
but that's the way it works with big expensive consultancies. The people that have spent a shit ton of money hiring them are never going to turn around and go, yeah, that was a fucking waste. Look at the money we spent on that and we got nothing. But when you hear the fan base,
yeah, but like
seems
Irish,
weird.
come on, Irish fans, we all know fucking Irish fans. You know, it's like the 1 minute they're telling you how fucking great they are, and the next they're telling you how their problems are terrible and it's everyone else's fault. For me, it's more the fact of I just feel that Nucifora, you got to look at where Ireland were and where they are now when Nucifora was involved. He's developed a really, really good young player pathway to bring them through. The problem I have is that the SRU have employed several people over the years on a sort of, let's just get them to do like 3 days a week, or 6 weeks every 6 months, or something like that. Just to, we don't want to pay you the full amount of money, but we want you to do the same job. All that bullshit, and it's like, no. If Nucifora wants to come and turn the place upside down, come on a full-time basis, and you're not going fucking off to the with the Lions. You're getting here and you're getting to do a fucking job, and they don't, and that's what upsets me. And everyone who listens to this podcast knows my feelings on how their employment of Sean Everett, and how he was announced and how he was introduced to us all. It was at that point when he was introduced to us. Those 3-4 years ago, to the Edinburgh fans, it was just, we've just decided we're going to accept mediocrity for this guy, and we're going to see if he can do something. No, we've gone out and we've searched the world for the best fucking coach we can for Edinburgh. And here's this guy, anyway, that's my hands in it.
No, you said at the beginning, Craig, and you're absolutely right. It'd be great if we got players on here and that kind of thing and developed a podcast. But fundamentally, I listen to all the Scottish podcasts, right? We're the only one that are critical where criticism's due. The reason being, we are fan-driven. We come from a fan's perspective. If we think the SRU are being shit, we will say that. Almost all the other podcasts have SRU employees on there. They are not about to say anything detrimental. The ones that don't are professional journalists and therefore can't be pissing off the SRU and not getting in the door with them.
Yeah.
So they have to be a bit soft. Some of them are a little bit stronger about it, but in general, I think we have to stick to our guns.
Apparently, we have an agenda. That was the word I was trying to get out. We have an agenda against the SRU. No, we're calling you out for doing a fucking shit job.
I would love to have an agenda. That would, if we had an agenda, that would equate to us actually being far better organised than we are.
Absolutely.
No, we don't have an agenda, but when we're pissed off, we say so, and rightly so, and we should stick with that. Leslie, what's your hands in the ruck?
My hands in the ruck is completely trivial compared to Craig's, but
Sorry, I went off on one there. Sorry.
no, and mine's like really, it's silly, but I was trying to look for stats for the Edinburgh and Leinster game. I wanted to see, did Edinburgh make any line breaks? If they did, who? That kind of thing. Nothing fancy. So we've got like two places really that you can get stats. You've got the EPCR website itself, and you've got Rugby Pass. Both are shit.
Yeah.
Unbelievably shit. So they give you team stats, which are fine, and they give you individual stats for the player, but it's not broken down by game. It is done by the competition, or so either the URC or the Champions Cup, whatever. And I'm just like, I'm not a statistician. I'm not that bothered by stats particularly, but you would have thought 2026 that you could have been a bit better about getting some stats about a particular game. Oh, can't get fucking jack shit. That really annoyed me.
It is
Really
ridiculous. These stats are produced live by the people, I suspect, the analysts watching the games. So they'll be they'll be sitting there during the match itself, clicking buttons that say dominant tackles, tackles missed, etc., etc.
And
It
that's,
should be a comparatively easy thing just to pipe that through a database somewhere.
So then I did a bit more digging, and I went into the Reddit rabbit hole, as you do. And Opta have some stats as well.
Yeah.
So again, they're different to what Rugby Pass and EPCR stats have themselves. Fine. But it's just a big list.
Yeah.
And like the format in which it's presented to you is probably great if you're into stats and you can pull that off and manipulate it to how you want it. But if you're just like me, you just want a quick look at something, it just isn't there.
Yeah.
And when I was looking at Opta's stuff, I was having a look at some of Edinburgh stats. And do you know of all the teams who Edinburgh most resemble in terms of how they play to width, how they kick the ball, how they retain it, all that kind of stuff? Have a guess. Let you have a guess.
Is it Glasgow?
It's not. It is not a class. Nope. It's not a URC team. Give you a clue.
Scotland.
Nope.
No.
Craig, do you want to have a guess?
Ireland? Leinster?
No. Newcastle Red Bulls.
Ah,
Their stats are so similar, you would not believe it. Of all the fucking teams, fucking Newcastle, who are shit.
You're
I'm
the
sorry,
bottom
but they
team
are.
of the Prem.
Oh,
Fuck's sake. Surely somebody somewhere is looking at that and going, "You're doing it wrong, guys."
yeah. Of all the teams, not these guys.
Fuck it, no.
Oh,
That's not
just.
fair. That's absolutely fucking bonkers. No, the stats thing is, I find it annoying. I frequently, you guys know I did a wee bit of work on a database for the blog. That's how I ended up chatting to you guys a couple of years back. Going and finding reasonable stats is really fucking hard. It took ages of digging and Wikipedia and all sorts of stuff. If they're trying to grow the game, particularly in the US market, knowing that US have got a World Cup in 5 years' time, basically, they need to get better at this. The US sports tend to be massively stat driven, and I do think, I know we were joking with David Lawrence about him always coming up with the next stat, but that's how a lot of American sports are watched. You know, they all do the analysis on the baseball stats and the gridiron stats and things like that. And we can't even fucking produce a decent set.
That's why David always sounds far better when he comes on. He was full of stats and far more well read, far better read than a lot of his countrymen. And definitely me.
And why he sounds like he's stat focused on here, because that's how the Americans consume sport.
Yeah.
What made it worse was the stats between EPCR website and Rugby Pass. They report on very similar things, but with different numbers.
Yeah.
So, and you're just like, well, I guess some things are open to interpretation, but some things are just very different. And you're like, okay, so how have you guys independently come to this? Because you're obviously looking at very different things. So you can't. You then don't trust either set because you don't know the underlying.
Yes, if the number of dominant tackles is different, you can go, well, that could be interpretation.
Yeah,
if the number,
one or two,
if the number of scrum penalties is different, that's when you're going, hang on a second. You know?
Yeah, something's not right here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have another one. I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no, crack on, please do.
So, as you know, as maybe you guys probably know, I am quite into my social media, if you like. I'm, chronically online, as the kids would say. And I follow Thomas Ramos on Instagram.
Mhm.
And he posts stories, as you do. And he's posting about the French women's game. There's like a video that went out from one of the insurance companies, and he's posted about it on his story. And I saw him last week. He'd been posting about Stade Toulousain's women as well.
All right. Yeah.
And we get absolutely hee-haw from Scotland men. They never post jack shit about the women's team. Not even just a little good luck on your game today, good luck for the competition, nothing. And it annoys me because if you could imagine if Sione is captain, did a little video, like 10, 20, 30 seconds, just to say, good luck to Scotland women, against Wales this weekend, best of luck for the competition. Can you imagine the nice boost that would give? Now, I'm not saying he has to. If he did it off his own back, that would be great. But how nice that would be. The Scotland's bloody motto is "as one," but it doesn't fucking look like it.
No.
Who controls the players' social media, Leslie?
Yeah.
The SRU.
I was going to say exactly the same.
Just like I've told you're not telling me that Scotland men's players are any busier than bloody Thomas Ramos. He probably plays more minutes than bloody anybody else. Come on,
maybe I wouldn't be at all surprised from what little I know of the SRU to find that they're utter control freaks.
They are. They're fully in control of their rest. Yeah, absolutely.
They police absolutely everything. Yeah. Whereas I wouldn't be at all surprised that the FFR, the French Federation of Rugby, says, okay, we don't want you posting this or that or anything derogatory about us or your team, otherwise knock yourself out. And leave it to the guys, leave it to the players to self-police. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that was the case. So Ramos is doing that. Ramos isn't doing that under instruction. He's doing that off his own back.
Yeah.
Yes, and our guys are not to post unless instructed on anything rugby related, I suspect.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
I'm going back to the days during COVID. I was genuinely having online conversations that involved Schumann and Duan. They were talking about when lockdown was over, we'll set up a massive braai. And I was saying, yeah, let me in the night before. I'll get the smoker along. And Schumann was actually asking me, what would you cook on that? So we're having this big conversation. That's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Access has gone. Even about something as completely non-rugby related.
Mm-hmm. It just feels like they're missing a trick. You're missing a little post about sport and women. Come on, it's like nothing. It's not derogatory about anybody. Like
even if you take it on a commercial side of it, think of how many people follow each of those Scotland men's players.
Yep.
And if they posted about the women's game, think that if you say 1 out of 10 of those followers might actually either watch or buy a ticket for a game.
Yep.
Yeah. If only 10% do it, that's probably huge numbers compared to what they get.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's very valid, and I don't understand it myself. I genuinely don't, because we have something in 50-22, and I'll bring it up now. While we're kind of on the subject, Colin Black has posted on Facebook, as well as his Hands in the Ruck. He also said 50-22, the Women's Six Nations, it's just great. And I mean, I completely concur with him. But one of the things that we've said many times over the last couple of years, certainly, and even before then, the women's socials content is so much better.
Yep.
It's upbeat, it's engaging, it's happy. You want to go and watch it. The men's stuff is just dull as. And I can't believe that's just the women doing it on their own. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe I've got that wrong. Maybe the SRU doesn't tighten the reins quite so much for reasons we've already discussed.
Yeah, the women are not contracted in the same way. You know, they're not playing their club rugby in Scotland. A lot of them, or most of them. So they maybe don't have the same level of control, perhaps.
Yeah.
But also, I've lost my train of thought. That's fine.
I think one of the troubles, and it kind of ties into the whole SRU thing as well, is there have been instances over these last few weeks / months where whoever runs Edinburgh's social postings needs to read the fucking room. You know?
Yeah.
Who's your player of the match? You just get absolutely punted 50 to whatever by the Lions, and you're going, who was your top performer in the Edinburgh team? We're all fucking shite, you know?
The whole reason for social media is to come up with new and innovative things, and unfortunately, they're going down the usual tropes. It's almost like I'm posting up a special deal on a motorbike. You do it regularly because that's what you do, and they're doing the same thing. Oh, who was your player of the match in this thing? And blah 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 blah.
Cool. All right. Moving on, we'll finish up on a positive note, as usual. Talk about this sport we love. I'm going to mention one from Brian Dalglish specifically because I forgot to. Not I didn't forget to mention it. I hadn't seen it on socials. It came in too late for me to note it down last week, but it's pertinent for all sorts of reasons. He said he went for a walk around the local park and thought it was fantastic to see so many young ones playing. And he was in Duffus Park over Fifewise, and he actually said hats off to the coaches involved. He posted that on our Facebook group, and it turned out one of the coaches involved was our very own Johnny. So the wee bit of natter to that. And I just thought, what a great thing to see. There's Brian seeing youngsters out playing, and absolutely right. Big hats off to all the coaches that are out there helping that happen at yon time on a Sunday. That's what real grassroots is when you're talking about a bunch of kids running about being coached. So yeah, hats off to all of those coaches, including our very own Johnny. Yeah, I think that's it from the socials this week. Not a huge number. I have a couple, but Craig, anything you've seen that has genuinely cheered you up this week?
Rachel Malcolm.
Right.
Rachel Malcolm was talking again on the same podcast that I mentioned earlier that you shouldn't really listen to, but yeah, have a listen. And she had me almost stopping the car and getting out and running through a wall for her, the way she was talking. She is everything a Scotland captain should be, and she's everything any captain should be. I just a phenomenal. I don't know her personally, so I can't turn around and say 100% she's a phenomenal person, but she comes across as a phenomenal person, and all the players that know her and play with her say that she's a phenomenal captain, and I'm very, very. I just think she's just every interaction that you hear or listen to her, she'll not bullshit you. She'll tell you what she's thinking. She's great with the press. She'll actually give them a proper chat, and she'll not hide anything. No, she's a consummate professional, and I take my hat off to her. She's my 50-22.
Awesome, and well said. It is to my eminent regret that I actually saw she was standing up to leave the stadium a few rows behind me when I went to see Glasgow women play Edinburgh women, and I really wanted to go and say hello, and was just a wee bit worried to go all fanboy, which doesn't become a man of years. So, so I'll let her go on her merry way. But yeah, phenomenal. Leslie, what about yourself?
Mine was also going to be Rachel.
Sorry, Leslie.
No, not at all. Everything that Craig has already said about her, but she is probably Scotland, at least Scotland women's best ever captain, I would say. And she also has a sausage dog. So, I mean, that's just the cherry on top, isn't it? Hey, Craig.
No comment.
Oh, Craig.
Staying out of that one altogether. That could get me in trouble.
Awesome.
Mark, you?
I have a couple. One is specifically related to Scottish rugby, and the other two not so much. And the Scottish rugby one actually goes back to what we were saying earlier about the Glasgow playing at Scotstoun. I don't know if any of you have seen the reel that the Glasgow actually posted on their own. I think it was Instagram that I caught it on, about the crowd noise during one of the tries. And it was basically somebody filming in amongst the crowd. Absolutely phenomenal. And it just kind of backs up what we were saying about it. Just outrageous. I will stick that on the socials. The other thing was the other two that I saw, again, another film. Did any of you see the kick by the kicker at Quins Rugby in the Prem about a week ago? Or it might not have been last weekend, maybe the week before. It hit both posts and the crossbar twice before not going over. I've never seen anything like it. And they got
that was Marcus Smith, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was Marcus Smith. No, I think it was one of the others. No, I think there's one where he hits a couple of them. It hit the right post, then the crossbar, then the left post, then the crossbar, then out. It was just unbelievable.
There's a lot about Quinn's season, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. That works is beyond me. And finally, and the only thing, and I know it's a Scottish rugby podcast and all that sort of thing, the Dragons beating Stade Francais 36-31 in Paris. That was a great game. That put a massive fucking smile on my face. The Dragons went well over a year without winning a game at home, and they've still had people turning in at Rodney Parade week in, week out.
There's hope for us yet, Leslie. There's hope for us yet.
And honestly, I just wanted to say, of all the things that put a smile on my face about rugby this week, I was chuffed to bits for them. They deserve that. They really do. So that is all. So that's about it from me. Do you folks have anything else you would like to add? No?
I'm all shouted out.
Excellent. Glad to hear it. Well, thank you very much. I have thoroughly enjoyed this, and as ever, thank you for your time, Leslie. And Craig has died.
That baddie died, yeah.
Yeah, no, he posted a message to us a second ago saying that his battery was about to die. So I assume it has gone at the very last hurdle, but that's fine. We got through it all. So thank you very much, folks. And bye from me and Leslie.
Bye.